before it reaches your mouth, you have the sudden urge to stop. You think, how will this help me lose weight? And how will I look good like other people if I eat this? In the United States, over $30 billion are spent on diet products annually, and an estimated 45 million Americans diet every year. Andy Tagle quoted this in the article, "Diet Culture is Everywhere, Here's How to Fight It." Ragan Chastain describes an aspect of diet culture in the article, recognizing and resisting diet culture as either to make sure one doesn't become fat or to try to make fat people thin, in the use of food rules and restriction to manipulate body size. So what does diet culture really mean? During my informative speech, I will summarize the representation and effect of diet culture, what dieting means opposed to possessing a sustainable diet, and resisting the culture altogether. Nadia Craddock states in Tagle and Schneider's article that diet culture is that set of social expectations telling us that there's one way to be, one way to look, one way to think, and that we are a better person if we do so. People deemed to be more worthy if their bodies appear a certain way. We are all susceptible to the social norms that shape our perceptions of what's desirable, Tagle states. The normalities about health, but the normalities are not about health, but American diet culture telling people that they have to look thin to fit in the article, Demystifying Diet Culture. Tess Jaeger explains that the weight equals health belief is actually a myth, and encourages people, especially women, to have an unhealthy relationship with food and their bodies to fulfill societal expectation of what they should eat or should look like. The culture targets mainly women to make them believe they're somehow not good enough if they are not slim or gym body and eat things like kale or salad or things like that. This undermines female body confidence and self-esteem, makes them miserable, and promotes an unhealthy relationship with food. So what does the craze for healthy foods mean within diet culture? Diet culture encourages following rules about what, when, and how much a person should eat. Its messaging can be seen in before and after transformation photos, or as Tagle states, in all the posts talking about food as though it's somehow virtuous. When not honoring your hunger, your body can overcorrect. It can cause us to be preoccupied with food and think about food all day long, causing us to consider dietary intake like macros and calories and things like that. Diet culture not only affects the mind of adolescents, but it also considers communication as impactful to people of all ages. The article, "If you don't lose weight, the government will take you away," by Ellen Jordan, noted body image and disordered eating can be influenced by diet culture within parenting, as they communicate with value judgments and rules for eating and indicate unacceptability of their children's appearances. Participants of the dietary study, according to Carumination, Diet Culture, and Intuitive Eating, recalled specific messages they received from important others in their lives, often including commentary about their body size, shape, and appearance. Communication between parents, relatives, or peers plays a large role in how we observe ourselves. So how does diet culture affect people? On a physical level, according to Jaeger, those who choose to diet are likely to engage in repeated attempts because the success of actually maintaining that type of weight loss is low. The authors continue by claiming this was referred to as weight cycling and is associated with long-term strain on the body, such as loss of muscle tissue, gallstone attacks, weakened bones, hypertension, chronic inflammation, and some forms of cancer. In Foss dietary study, 28% of participants claiming to have experienced an eating disorder believed it to be caused by some form of diet culture. Persuasive cultural norms emphasizing thinness cause control and restriction around eating and exercise behaviors significantly, leaving your body physically damaged. Diet culture can also significantly affect mental health. In Foss' article, she explains the dietary study among young women and their responses to diet culture. The way society focuses on body image, dieting, and exercise makes everyone feel as though they have to fix something about themselves. And it is bad to compare yourself to others, but it is also hard to ignore it, and this is a problem. A participant stated this about negative body image. Fat talking, as Foss describes, results from and intensifies body dissatisfaction, higher levels of depression, anxiety, decreased mood, comparison, and a perceived pressure to be thin. Within Jordan's dietary study, it is also claimed by participants that they interacted with declining mental health when observing this ideal body in comparison to themselves. Schneider agrees the culture of dieting tells its followers that physical fitness and health are the same, although that was actually found to be a myth. Foss states there are more beneficial approaches to diet, exercise, and body-specific reflection that may result in healthier outcomes, as resisting as an alternative to diet culture. Resisting diet culture, according to Schneider, is impossible in this day and age. Though when focusing on the term for health, Jordan identifies the message does not explicitly indicate a need for the participant to decrease her body size, nor does it focus specifically on eating practices. She states the message exemplifies a current societal shift towards wellness and feelings of self-worth. Resisting to Jagger is one that supports policies and environments that enhance the well-being of all people of shapes and sizes, and claims people are all deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Other health approaches, such as intuitive eating, is considered to be a constructive eating practice and promotes positive body image. Intuitive eating, reported by Fa, involves developing a connection with one's own internal cues of hunger, satisfaction, fullness, and using those cues to guide food and exercise choices. The intuitive approach to eating food argues that when people are able to resist the diet culture beliefs, they become free to make their own choices according to their body's needs, ultimately resulting in health improvements and more peaceful relationships with themselves and their bodies. Intuitive eating, explained by Schneider, is just learning to trust our bodies. It's prioritizing body knowledge over external rules like calorie counting, portion sizes, and things like macros. To make your food relationship greater, how do you eat properly or intuitively and getting enough of the right nutrition without taking away things like processed foods? Robert Schufelt explains in the article, Can Processed Food Be Part of a Responsible Diet?, that foods with the cleanest labels are not always the most nutritious, and the healthiest choices not always have to be like a whole food. While there are many processed products high in sugar, fat, and salt, there are also many items on the market that are also nutritious and enjoyable, even being considered processed. Diet culture is, according to Jagger, driven through capitalist industries and marketing tactics that reinforce dieting, beauty, and myths and ideas about health. The ideas are included in food labels notorious for no added sugar, no added fats, no artificial flavors, or fat-free label tactics. The ideas it's just rebranding Craddock states in Taggle's article. These days, the diet industry has adapted its messaging to be about appearance and so-called health. According to Schufelt, a person must be skeptical of the rules proposed by many of the critics of the American culture. Although many processed foods are criticized by diet culture itself for having too many chemicals, it has actually found the foods with cleanest labels do actually have more chemicals. Understanding the difference between scientifically harmful components of food and components that do not have a negative effect on the body is key to formulating a personalized diet without inclusion of diet culture strategies. To Fa, choosing and developing a comfortable diet illuminated by internal hunger cues and opposing negative ideas of the diet culture will naturally make food and exercise choices that promote health. In the absence of diet culture, according to Schneider, lies freedom from food. Because of my speech, you now have knowledge of what diet culture is, its impact it can have on a person, and how you can resist the diet culture altogether to aim towards a more sustainable lifestyle. So the next time you start to eat a cookie and begin to feel guilty, just remember the knowledge presented to you today. You are worthy and loved even when diet culture tells you otherwise. Thank you for listening.